and I am here at last to share my bag for the holidays. And this is a smaller bag that I believe originally lived inside the Witchy Moon bag that I previously shared, but my affinity for the spooky decks obviously resulted in that collection growing quite a bit. So this one stands alone, but it is a smaller bag, Halloween-y in theme. So, as I got started on this, I realized I had intended to wear something a little bit more Halloween-y, but I forgot, and I'm just motivated to do this now, so I'm going to run with it. But after some reflection, though it was not intentional, I did come to realize that I am wearing Sunnydale High School colors, so I know this is grasping, but like, does it count if I'm dressed as if I'm attending school over Hellmouth and possibly operating under the influence of that? We'll run with it. Let's get moving with this. Okay, so inside this very Halloween-y bag is a very Halloween-y pouch. Now, both of these I got on Redbubble. Of course, the art is not my beloved Winona Cookie, but the artist that created the Halloween tarot deck that is inside this little pouch of treasures. And I keep it in this little jack-o'-lantern bag that I love so much. It's got a little vintage feel just like this deck does. So while I've got my spooky decks out all of October, this doesn't really come out until closer to Halloween. It's more like week of. It is purely my Halloween deck, and then once Halloween has passed, it gets packed back up. Trick or tarot? Here's the card back. Edge mine in black. And this deck has a total kitschy vintage feel. There's the High Priestess is what features on the bag that I keep this in. Just absolutely nostalgic. This takes me back to my childhood. Not that I'm that old. I mean, these are rather old-timey images. I don't go back that far. But it just gives me that classic spirit of Halloween that I just really felt as a kid, and I continue to hold on to now as an adult, as a sort of adult, I guess. Bit of arrested development here, but I mean, I trick-or-treated with one of those. I don't know how many of you have. I mean, that was a pretty common thing. My husband, though, was like, "You didn't use pillowcases?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "But you could fit so much more candy in a pillowcase." I was like, "Yeah." But I don't know. I liked my plastic jack-o'-lantern. This deck is interesting, although I'm not showing an example of it now. Oh, well, first of all, actually, one thing that is different, they all have these titles, as you can see, but the death card, I'm actually not sure why. It probably says in the guidebook, but it does not actually say death. And perhaps that is just to not put people off who can be freaked out by the death card, I guess. I don't think tarot readers are, but the people they're reading for, maybe. Honestly, it's escaping me, the rationale behind that. But as you can see, for temperance, art. So it uses Thoth titles. Oh, for the devil, I like that he calls it Old Scratch. And the Tower of Destruction. So there's just fun little tweaks here. I know the Judgment is the Aeon, continuing with Thoth titles. Oh, speaking of which. So yeah, I don't know what more to say about it. It's got this vintage vibe that I love all year round, really. But this just, I Again, just classic Halloween. Makes me feel like a kid again. Just makes me feel so nostalgic. How cute is that? 8 of Wands, all the witches on their broomsticks. Some fun, classic horror in there. It's nothing gory, it's nothing scary, but you know, it's got its little creep factor, but like it's a cute creepy. Okay, I won't go through the whole deck, but I haven't seen this since last Halloween, so I'm kind of getting carried away with myself here and just wanting to look at it again. But I'm sure I've conveyed the idea well enough with this. So, you know, it's fully illustrated even through the minors. I could tell a lot of work went into collaging these images together, and it's just really special. And oh, my significator card, Queen of Cups, it's one of those cards I always like to look at in a deck to see if I resonate with it, and I love her in this one. That's so sweet. Yeah. So Trick or Tarot, and then to go along with that, I've got the matching Lenormand deck. And this one's a different cardstock. It's a nice linen. I would love it if the tarot deck were the same, but it's pretty nice for what it is. I don't know cardstock very well, so as you probably notice if you watch my videos, I don't really speak to that too much, or if I do, it's pretty much as general as possible. See some images that reappear from the tarot deck. But look at the doggy. He's wearing a little ballerina skirt. You know, there's just like a lot of whimsy in this. It's very cheeky. It's just, you know, it has the spookiness, but it's a cheeky spooky, just like it's a cute creepy, and it's just having fun with itself. And I have great fun with it accordingly. And it's just really fun. You know, with Lenormand, of course, as we always say, it doesn't matter what the images are. It's just about what the symbol is. But I mean, how fun if you're going to do Lenormand at Halloween. And then obviously these two are going to be a perfect match together. I mean, it's the same art. They're really nice on the table. Okay, so going along with that, in this pouch, I've got the Bogey Book that goes with the Trick or Tarot. And so this gets into more explanation of each card. And let me see, while I'm at it, I'll look up the Death card. Oh, as you can see, it says the card with no name, in which it must be acknowledged that the only constant is change. Death is so limiting. Like as not, this is the reason why many ancient decks omit the title on this card. With Trick or Tarot, we are merely following suit. Perhaps those bygone deck creators felt that the title was belaboring the obvious, but if the core meaning of the card is transformative influence, why not just call it that and be done with it? Mr. Death wouldn't mind either way. His task is the same. In deck after deck, he dutifully clears the way with his scythe, and because change is never comfortable, he remains a card that most folks strenuously want to avoid no matter what in the heck he's called. Still, it's worth pointing out that the card is never called ending, nor is that precisely what it means. Change will happen whether it's wasted or not, and although one candle may burn out, others will be lit in its place. Change may be merciless, but it always acknowledges a coming future, and the future indicates potential and hope. Trick or Tarot slightly softens the image somewhat by casting change as a beautiful Halloween lady, but do not fail to notice the skull and the crossbones on her white shroud, nor the black rose in her left hand. Jack-o'-lanterns cheerfully substitute for severed heads, while the sun over the traditional twin pillars has been replaced with a clock face. Who is the small ghostly figure that the angel of death is moving to embrace? It is none other than the author, aged 4, expecting treats for his treat bag that will most likely not be forthcoming. The Superman costume was one that he wore for a solid week when it was first given to him. Behind the mask, he is wondering why the face bears a good deal greater resemblance to JFK than it does to Clark Kent. So it's kind of funny. But here, the card as being described. I guess. So this must be a picture of the artist, like taken from a photo and incorporated in. It's cute. So you can tell that, you know, creator was really nostalgic while making this deck. And actually the whole intro to it, you see these photos of the past. And then it just gets into, you know, a history of shadow. Like, I think this is a sample of an original Bogey book that, you know, must have been a thing. So it's a total nod to that. So there's all this extra content before it even gets into the major arcana. And then even after that, it offers several spreads. And then again, old school games for Halloween. Back when Halloween incorporated apparently a hyphen and an apostrophe. That's real old school. Compiled by Mary E. Blaine, 1912. So, you want to talk old timey? Walnut boats, Halloween souvenir game, flower test. Wait. A bowl is filled tightly with flour. During the process of filling, a wedding ring is inserted vertically in some part of it. The bowl, when full, is inverted upon a dish and withdrawn, leaving the mound of flour on the dish. Each guest cuts off with a knife a thin slice which crumbles into dust. The guest who cuts off the slice containing the ring will be married first. So, find yourself sitting around on Halloween with no plans, and got some flour, looking to get hitched, hey, try it. Let me know how it turns out for you. Anyways, so it's just, again, it's just fun. And especially a time of year that just makes me feel so nostalgic anyway. Not just me, I think for everyone in general. And you're going into that time of reflection on those who've passed and giving reverence to that. There's just something really special about looking back on a bygone era at this time of year. So then accompanying my Trick or Tarot and corresponding Lenormand, of course, I have the Halloween Oracle. Maybe this is a better way to show it. Here's the guidebook. Stacy DeMarco. I know people don't always like the backs and don't feel like it matches the artwork, but again, it's just that silly Halloween fun. I like it. I only use it at this time of year. I do pull it out earlier though. I'll use it throughout October. I won't just limit it to Halloween week. So this one's going on the table. As of today, it's October 1st when I'm filming this. And yeah, this deck, you know, I'm not the first to say it, it has a lot of skulls, which of course, you know, appropriate for this theme, but like for a deck that isn't really that big to begin with, it doesn't have that many cards in the offing, and I'm sorry for the glare. To have, well, here we go. To have as many skulls like this as it does, and they all look pretty identical. yeah, I can see how that's disappointing. But again, I'm just coming from a place of, for the limited time frame each year that I will use it, I love the atmosphere of it. I like what the different skulls portray. They do have distinct meanings. And so, you know, I can handle some redundancy in artwork in that case. It's fine. You know, I'm not going to be like pulling from the deck enough probably to see every single one of them any given season. So it's just nice to know which one does happen to turn up. But I'm using the word classic too much in this video, but honestly, that is just what this is. I mean, like, you get the mummy, we just saw the vampire, here's the werewolf, here are the trick-or-treaters, you know, it's just, it is all of these classic symbols of Halloween, and I just love the coziness of this, the lamp. It's like setting the jack-o'-lantern in the window too, that idea of light to keep the evil away and to also guide people, the living and the dead, home. As that veil thins. Oh, black kitty. So yeah, again, I'm finding myself going through all of this because I'm just so excited to see it again after a long spell. I know everyone knows this deck. I'm not even sharing anything new. So thanks for bearing with me as I went through that very slowly, but it's just fun. It's very cozy and it's very deep. I get great readings from this, and yeah, it's a great accompaniment with the Trick or Tarot, but then also the other spooky decks that I'm putting out on my table. Again, as of today, October 1, it's here. It's here. I always get so excited, but then nervous once October hits because it's like, okay, slow down. Savor it. You know, I really have to like make sure I'm mindful this month because it goes by in a blink, right? And I just love it so much. There's so much I want to cram into this time, and I just don't want it to blow by. So get mindful. Enjoy every minute, every hour of every day. Just feel like a kid again. So that is the Halloween pouch concluded, except it's not. What a filthy liar I am. Oh, I always forget I have this. My gosh, I found this on Etsy and I can't remember the shop. This could have been, oh, it's Witchwood Oracle. Very conveniently on the box. Thank you for that, because I was blanking. But the Sweet and Spooky playing cards. Oh, I don't do a lot of playing card divination. I don't pretend to be well versed in it. Here are the backs, which go great. They look so good on the table with the Trick or Tarot. But and I also etched these. But when I do playing card divination, it's a very basic 3-card spread that I'll lay down, and I'll pull it out to have just more of a straightforward yes or no answer, or just even like whether it's like a strong maybe or a probably not kind of reading, and to like look to each card to sort of see the progression, like in the suits with red or black, what energy you might be moving out of and then moving into. Anyways, I just kind of use it generally. And honestly, this deck is just so fun. It is really just purely to play with something else on my table. And you see like the court cards are so freaking cute. These vintage costumes. And look at the suits. You know, you've got the jack-o'-lanterns. You've got these very creepy looking, I think they're supposed to be skulls. But ugh. Can't say I love those. But then get the black cat. And then I would have shown it one already. I just didn't observe exactly what was being shown. Oh, the little devils. So there it is again. I don't know that Witchwood Oracle still sells these, to be honest, but worth checking out. There's a website and Etsy shop. So now this concludes the Halloween pouch. I don't have a full-on pouch for Christmas. I have a Peggy bag though that I got last year and I really love it. And as you can see, I've stuffed it full. It's a really nice size to fit my Christmas related decks in. And it's great. This was my first Peggy bag. I need to get more of them. They're so well made. So how about, while I'm talking playing cards, I also have a deck in here for Christmas. This is just a US Games. The cards there. I actually bought this originally before I had found a Christmas tarot deck that I liked, and there's not really like that many on the market. It doesn't seem to me anyway. Maybe I'm totally missing it. I know they're out there and they exist, but I just felt like it's kind of slim pickings, which kind of surprises me. But while I was still in search of one, I actually did buy this to use for tarot readings. Obviously missing major arcana and a court card in each suit, but you know, it did the job basically. But just vintage Christmas cards are the images here. Though with using it as a tarot deck, I mean, the images were not made to correspond with these numbers and suits and everything. But so yeah, so I mean, for doing like a tarot type reading, that wasn't really doing anything. I would just read it more Pip style, but it's just pretty. I love that vintage look. You know, it complements the Trigger Tarot in that way. It's just that days of yore feeling. I finally got this Christmas tarot, I think at the beginning of this year. And so I edged it and looked through it, haven't read with it, but it completely corresponds with the vintage vibe of those playing cards. And again, that Trigger Tarot, this is also taken from vintage holiday cards, I imagine. And if I'm perfectly honest, again, haven't done a reading with it, but in looking through card by card, I don't know if these images really capture the card meanings for me either, much better than the random playing card ones. I mean, there's more of a match than the playing card deck, but there are definitely some where I feel like it's a stretch. And of course, it's because you're taking these pre-existing images and trying to like retrofit it into the tarot structure. So I don't know how much images and titles correspond throughout, but some of them are decent. I just, at least initial impressions, don't feel like some of these interpretations are like super obvious from the artwork, but it'll be interesting figuring out how I use it. But again, just using it, I only plan to bring it out the week of Christmas. I don't expect to like work with it the entire month of December. I'll go for wintry decks instead. But then to go with this, the same creator, and I'll leave the Etsy shop link in the description below. I add this one. I had fun with this, the red and green. But this was their Lenormand deck. So also these vintage images. So yeah, they aren't like identical with their borders and everything, but obviously they coordinate with each other. And this is more of a tarot size. It's big for a Lenormand deck. Then when you see how they look with the playing card too, it's a match. And I also had that Halloween Oracle deck to go with the Halloween deck. So for Christmas, in this pouch, I use the Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. I really love this one, and I love to use it through that whole season. So this is something I will pull out for all of December, if not bringing out it in November already. And then at least this year, I know I was using it. I'm trying to think when it came out, but I feel like I was using it through January this year. This really just captures that feel of winter. Just really beautiful images. I love that the cardinals showed up in both this and the Halloween Oracle. But this is where Halloween gets the unfair advantage on Christmas, because though I do already have that Halloween Oracle for it, I of course will also pull out the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle. I forget if I showed that the Yule one's green, but this is red. But yeah, this one's coming out today, October 1, and I plan to keep using it probably into November as well. And it's nice where it's not, you know, catering purely to Halloween. It's just actually getting the essence of what this time of year feels like, what we tend to be reflecting on at this time, that more turning inward a bit more as we're going into winter, and just kind of like reflecting on the past and reflecting on those who have passed and so on and so forth. And so kind of readying for that hibernation stage. But yeah, but you're not having all the jack-o'-lanterns and trick-or-treaters and werewolves and things. That is just like the pure fun of the Halloween stuff for me. So for the seasons in general, then over the longer course of weeks at a time, I use both of these, and then the other decks I showed are just more so week of those particular holidays. And yeah, that's it. That's everything. So I thank you as always for joining me, and I would love to hear in the comments what decks you are pulling out for Halloween this year, and if you do have any that you use for Christmas time, if you successfully found a great Christmas deck, I would love to know. I hope everyone in the meantime is having a wonderful and festive season this time of the harvest, as leaves are falling already here, even at the very beginning of October. If you're going to the pumpkin patches, if you're sipping hot apple cider, even better, drinking cider with the cider donuts that they sell at the pumpkin patches. Another one of those things that just takes me back to childhood. And so if you have kiddos, I hope that they are having a blast at this time. And yeah, that's all I got for you today, folks. So bye.